Welcome to the Infinite Spark of Being podcast. My name is Keith Welsh, and today we're going to talk about being the body and being the soul. Why? Because you voted for it. I posted on Instagram a little poll there between 3 topics. This is the one that got the most votes. So I'm going to follow that because let's face it, this is for you. I'm here to help. I'm here to teach. That is the path of karma yoga. So before I get into that, go to theinfinitesparkofbeing.com, click the About button, read a little bit about me and what I have to offer you as far as one-on-one sessions, coaching, doing workshops, speaking at your yoga school or whatever that stuff is. Reach out through email. You can also DM me on Instagram and let me know that you emailed me. I'm more active on Instagram than anywhere else. Also, the Patreon, the $10 a month Patreon tier, it's growing. It's the first Wednesday of every month, online gathering, 8 p.m. Eastern, and I'm really happy. You guys are awesome. We're creating a little family, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah, there's also t-shirts, books, do your thing. Third book, I'm essentially rewriting it. I said I was editing it. Let's face it, it's a rewrite. I'm really happy. Again. Anyway, so being the body and being the soul, this is a tricky one. I have been 270 pounds twice in my life. And I'm telling you that for a reason. Right now, I believe I weigh like 190. And I'm telling you that because when my mental health and my thinking suffered, my body suffered. And what's interesting is I didn't always think it was suffering. I just thought life kind of sucked, and that's how it is. So when my mind suffered, my body suffered. And the problem is that not only is the mind reminding the body how to feel, but the body is telling the mind what to think. So now we have a problem. So the mind is affecting the body and causing the body to fall into disrepair. And now the body being in disrepair is causing the mind to fall into disrepair. And it's a chain reaction. And these two things are talking to each other. Why is that important? Because that's your whole human experience. That's your experience of this human birth. And you, as the soul that is experiencing this, these are your tools. The mind and the body are how we are going to work out our karma, work out our curriculum. And if they're shit, then that's a problem. And I'm going to speak about something here that is, I don't know how to say it other than to say it. And as a man, at one point that had a very fat, out of shape body, there's things that happen with that. Just like I don't know what it's like to be a woman, so I can't really speak on it. But as a fella, certain shit happens. And I started to have some serious, like, fat person problems. Now look, listen. I know that in today's culture, especially with the woke culture, exercise and fitness are considered right-wing, misogynistic, white supremacist, colonialist, all the buzzwords. Look, if you are going to DM me anything related to that, you can fuck all the way off sideways. I do not want to hear it. My give a shitter hasn't worked in 20 years, so save it. I'm 47, and I've never felt better or younger. My mind has never worked better. My body has never worked better. That has been the benefit of physical fitness for me. Now, there are certain things that started to occur that I was like, well, this kind of sucks. One of them, there's no way to say it other than to say it. I couldn't see my dick. I hadn't seen it. Been a while. You had to do a yoga pose to see it. And my partner at the time, my girlfriend, liked me that way. And I think she liked me that way for, in my opinion, very sick reasons. Because what was really fucked up is when I started to lose weight, work on my physical health, I started to become more spiritually healthy too. And we had met kind of on a spiritual path. And it was one of those things where like, and I don't think she listens to this. This is some major shit talking, but some of you know her, so I apologize. But I think she liked the idea of this spiritual path, whereas I was serious. She was just kind of fucking around. I was dead serious. And so that is where we diverged often. And then when it came to the physical health and food and stuff, I believe that she always liked the idea of physical health, nutritional health, and things like that. But I was serious. And the more serious I became, like for instance, I remember the first time I ever ran 10 miles, and not barefoot, but the first time I ran 10 miles was in sandals, actually, Luna sandals. Some of you know I'm a barefoot runner. I run barefoot. And it's not because I'm a badass. It's a long story, and I don't recommend anybody do it wherever the fuck you want. But the first time I did it was in these things called Luna sandals. And I came home and I was like, I ran 10 miles. And she goes, Keith, nobody cares. In fact, every time I came home and told her how far I ran because I was so proud of myself, she was like, Keith, nobody cares. And my work office mate at the time, Troy, we're sharing office, and he tells the story, he remembers the first time I came in, I was like, oh my God, I ran a mile. And he was like, and in 3 weeks you came in, and he's like, I just ran 13 miles barefoot on asphalt. So I do have a tendency to just lean in and go all the way. But my mental health was deteriorating, and it was causing here's the thing, it wasn't always due to depression, though I have been prone in the past to depression and suicidal ideation, though without a plan, if you're a therapist listening. In fact, the last time I felt that way and I reached out to a friend who's a therapist, like, hey, I just need to say it out loud. I got to get this out. I got to say it. And then she goes, do you have a plan? And I said, God, no, that sounds fucking exhausting. I was just logically having trouble coming up with a reason to stay alive. But some of you know what I mean. It's not like, it's just like, what the fuck? I don't care. But then it's like, I don't even care enough to have a plan. So, my mental health, there's times that I thought it was okay, but it wasn't. I was locked in these cyclical negative thought patterns that were deteriorating everything. And some of you are negative thinkers. And if you listen back far enough in this podcast, I get comments all the time that like, Jesus, you sounded angry. And I wasn't well. And there's time I thought I was being very reasonable. It was like, no, we're all one and I love you, but you can fuck off, which is, I guess, normal. But as my mental health became negative and my thinking was negative and it was in this negative place, it manifested physically. And I'm sure you all know very fit people that suck and that are rude, mean people. Maybe I'm one of those people to you since I mentioned what I mentioned. But the reality is as the mind deteriorated, went into disrepair, so did the physical body went into disrepair. So the mind is reminding the body how to feel, the body's telling the mind what to think, and now they're bouncing off each other. Now my soul now has this experience. Lama Losan would always say, look, you have to take care of this body. You have to. You cannot allow it to go to shit. Because the whole thing we're doing here, that we are trying to do, and again, some of you, this is just a meme and it's something to play with. But some of us are really trying to become liberated and trying to, as souls, trying to do something, right? The mind is the experience. The mind is the experience. And you have your initial negative karmic horseshit going on, and that's your curriculum. But then as the body starts to fucking fall apart, then so does the mind, and then we're stuck. We never extricate our awareness from that far enough to fix any of it. And that's very sad. But that is also your path. That's also your deal. You know, this, and that's another piece of it. So when it comes to, in that book, Ocean, I talked about the ocean being the absolute and the wave being the relative. In Buddhism, there's the two truths doctrine of relative truth and absolute truth. The relative truth is that I am Keith. I am a cisgendered Caucasian Gemini male, and that is a relative truth. But it's not absolutely the truth. The absolute truth is that I am the formless, shapeless nothing that everything manifests from. Or God, depending on like who you are, who you ask. You know, in Buddhism, they kind of hesitate to put a name on that thing. But Hinduism, it's you know, it's Vishnu, it's God, it's the super soul, you know, that's us, you know. In the Gita, I believe Krishna says the wise know me to be their own divine self. So relatively speaking, that's me. Absolutely speaking, that's not me. I'm soul, I'm awareness, consciousness. I am you, right? Hanuman, when he's talking to Ram, and he says, when I forget who I am your servant. When I remember who I am you. And there's a Bible verse, Matthew 19, verse 26. Through man, this is possible. Through God, all things are possible. And I see that when I think of it through the filter of an allegory. It's like, well, like the Gita or the Ramayana, we are dealing with an allegory. I don't think the Bible's any different. That Jesus or God representing the higher self, our highest potential, and then there is the root man, organism, the mammal, us, and we're both, right? You know, that it is through our spiritual identity, our divine mind, our divine identity, that we can accomplish all things. You know, that all things are possible through God, through us, through our inherent nature, our essential essence. Not through the Judeo-Christian westernized concept of a God that is outside of you, but the one, the within, the you, the real you. That's you, but you're also this meat suit. And the subtle body as the mind that is this experience that you're having, that your soul is, that you as the soul are interacting with this world through this mind, and it's giving you this perception and this experience, and that you learn that as the mind alters and changes, the experience then changes. Well, the mind, or the body rather, is an important piece of that. The nervous system, the refinement of the nervous system through yogic practice. When I say yoga, you know, I don't mean bendy, stretchy yoga. I mean all the yogas. That through yogic practice, we refine the nervous system so that we can better feel into reality, that we can better experience this more fully, you know. There's things that, you know, when we remember them and they become confused in our mind, we feel into them with our body, we know more about what happened. You know, it's an episode I wanted to do on gut and intuition and all that kind of stuff. So I know I'd mentioned that I think I go back and forth on whether that's a thing or not. I think it's very complicated. But the body is an important thing. The body is the vessel. It's the tool. It's a tool. You know, and you want to use shitty tools? No. You know, and I've been at varying girths, right? And you're never happy pulling at your t-shirt every time you sit down or stand up or fucking twist, whatever. I've been there. And I'm just kind of speaking to fellas right now. I don't know what it's like to be a lady, but, you know, guys, like, you know, you want to look down and see it. You know what I mean? Like it's weird, several days a week I have this very physically demanding job that I go to, that I enjoy, and it involves, sometimes there's young folks, teenagers, college age, older folks, and there's nothing worse than people that engage in it. They think it's going to be easy, and it's not. They think it's going to be so much fun, and they get out there like, holy shit, this is hard. It's like, yeah. And you can kind of see some of them deteriorate or wilt. I've had that experience. I actually had it hiking once in Glacier National Park at the this hike up the Grinnell Glacier, which I don't know if it's even in existence anymore. But going up that and thinking, fuck, I'm a fucking mess, man. Like, my body isn't able to do this. It was embarrassing. It sucked. There's old people walking past me. It's like, fuck, man. I mean, I know the elevation's a thing, but that wasn't the biggest problem, guys. I can go ahead and blame the elevation, but I don't know. It's like when someone's like, I'd race you, but I don't have the right shoes on. But yeah, you are this body and you are this soul, because the body, the physical, is a manifestation of consciousness. It's a manifestation of the mind. It's a manifestation of the soul. It is part of your karma. And you have to work with it. You have to refine it. And we're not all starting off at the same place, and we're not all genetically the same. Get it. But, it takes me to that, I don't know how long ago, and somebody was saying that they were genetically predisposed to obesity. And I've got some fat, rednecky relatives, so, I hear you. You might be, but it's not an excuse. And I get it. You're happy. Are you happy? Or are you just complacent? Would you be happier if you cleaned up your act a little bit? Would you like to, but you start to do it. It's daunting. You don't see results fast enough. It's too much. And so you just accept your fate. How does that manifest spiritually? What is that like? Do you approach spiritual practice the same way? Sit down for meditation if you don't notice, but then later on that day you get very angry and start freaking out and meditation doesn't work. You probably do. The way we do one thing is how we do a lot of things. Do you approach your spiritual health the way you approach your physical health? Are you that lackadaisical? Are you that easygoing with it? Just questions to ask yourself, man. I tend to find out that there were times in my life that I really thought that I was doing okay. No, I can't say that. I can't say that I thought I was happy, because if you'd really asked me, the answer would have been no. I wanted better and I could have done better, but I wasn't doing better. That was the problem. So, being the body, being the soul, you're both. And you have to walk a fine line. You can't be all of one thing and not all of the other. It's the relative and absolute. But it matters. It all matters. That's the hard thing. Is it all has to matter, and you're already overwhelmed, and you get a case of the fuck it's. I get it. But that's it. Being the body, being the soul. Anything you want to hear more of, reach out, let me know. I'll do more of those little polls, I think. That was very helpful for me, actually. If you have comments about this, you want to tell me what a horrible, misogynistic, white supremacist colonialist I am, you can do that through DM on Instagram. Or if you need more space, send an email. But also, if you're going to do that, send a picture. I want to see you. All right. I love you. Go to theinfinitesparkofbeing.com, click on the About button, learn about me, see what I have to offer you in terms of one-on-one sessions, coaching, workshops, speaking engagements, stuff like that. You want me to come and teach meditation or any of the other stuff that I do, holler at me. I love you. Bye-bye.